What's up, everybody? This is April Dawn. I'm here to do my Underground Season 2 Episode 2 review recap. So let's go ahead and get started. Y'all, Underground is so, oh my God, it's so good. So, like, it's going to be kind of guerrilla style because I was with my family the whole week. And, you know, I just got to watch the episode when I got back. I tried to watch when I was there, but, you know, family. So, here we go. So, if I say this every week, but y'all know, if I forget something, just leave it for me in the comments. I think I got most things, though. So, we're going to go storyline by storyline. So, let's start off with Ernestine. So we're back with Ernestine on the plantation in South Carolina. Thank you, one of my viewers, for letting me know that she's sniffing ether, guys. She wasn't covering her face. Well, we didn't know what kind of drugs she was on, and I thought she was covering her face because of the smell of where she was at. But no, they're sniffing ether, and she's basically getting high, okay, all day long. And they're planting rice. So thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. I knew about the Gullah people, I knew about South Carolina, I knew about all that, but I didn't know about the rice situation. So that was cool to put together. So we're back there with her on the Gullah plant. I'm on the plantation in North Carolina or South Carolina, and she's with her man. Her man is rubbing her feet, and they're just talking. He tells her that he has a girl that she needs to help, and will she help her? Ernestine says yes. So Ernestine begins to look out the window, and she's humming a tune, and the man is like, I think his name is Hicks. He says, you know, what are you humming? She says, I don't know. But when we come to the window, we can see that she's staring at, there's a man standing on a bridge, a big old fine man, okay, standing on the bridge looking at her humming the same tune. So I'm putting this together as she's having a hallucination, a vision of French. Y'all remember French? This is Sam's father, her first husband, or her old husband. Who knows how many husbands she'd had, but I'm assuming this is probably her husband. And so her first husband. So we see that she's kind of off in La La Land. So later on, she's working on the field, and the girl that Hicks was talking about, she comes to her and she asks her, can she help her out? And so she says yes, and when she opens up her bag, there's a bottle of some concoction in there. So now we're putting together that the girl is pregnant, and this is some type of abortion concoction that Ernestine has mixed up, or, you know, that they make to get rid of babies or whatever. And she basically says, because when she says there's going to be a lot of bleeding, there's going to be some pain. And so the girl says, well, it's not like I never bled before. Then the girl starts talking about how, you know, do you know who the baby daddy is? So the baby daddy is Hicks. And she says, I only laid with your man one time, you know, and now I'm going to, you know, I'm going to get talked about, and, you know, I'm going to be shamed, and I'm not going to be able to get married because nobody going to want me. So, but, you know, maybe I should have the baby because the baby might be all I can have, or all I'm going to get out of this life. And so she asks Ernestine, does she have children? And Ernestine says yes. She says they were the best thing in my life. So the girl gets up and walks away, and I felt like at that point the girl made a decision that she did not want to have an abortion. Now later on, Ernestine is walking, you know, with the bowl on her head. I'm thinking it's lunchtime or something like this, because people are just walking around not doing nothing. Normally people get beat up for not doing nothing. So I'm assuming that it's lunchtime, and she's getting high as per usual, and she walks and she sees a bush of raspberries. And so she goes over to the raspberries, she's smiling, and then she sees French. And she sits down with him and talked about the raspberries, you know, bringing back these memories that they have of them being together, and how she tells him that after he died, everything basically turned into a mess. And he says, you know, that's when you went into the big house and your heart went cold because you didn't want to get anything out of, you know, if you wasn't going to love unless you was going to get something out of it other than heartbreak. And she says she loves her children, and he says you love them so much that you open your legs for the master. She says, I didn't want what happened to you happen to Sam, even though it happened anyway. So he says that, okay, that's why you open your legs for master anytime, you know, he wanted to. And, you know, your kids, you kill for your kids. And that's why when you had James, you love your kids so much, when you had James, you made it so you can have another kid. So, this is her subconscious talking to her, y'all. I'm guessing that, you know, we can see that Ernestine is going through a serious depression. So this is like her self-conscious, you know, beating herself up, because these are not words of encouragement. These are not words that say, hey, get up and get yourself together. It's kind of like your old life. And he says your kids are the worst thing that ever happened to you. And so, you can tell she's battling with some serious demons that's going on inside of her. So later on, she's in the slave quarters with the guy. No, she's in the slave quarters and she's weaving a basket. Hicks drags this young lady that's pregnant into the slave quarters and tells her and forces her basically to drink the liquid. Now, Ernestine this whole time is kind of very passive. In this whole situation, she's kind of shocked. You can see in her eyes that deep down she probably want to do something or say something, but you know, you get in those situations, she's almost powerless because she's going to get beat up if she don't help, you know. And the girl is going, it's just going to be bad all around. So basically, Ernestine does not help the girl at all. She points to where the stuff is. He goes and gets it. He shoves it down the girl's throat and leaves her. So the girl is crying or whatever. So later on that night, Ernestine gets up and goes out and walks. She goes by the tree. They show at the beginning the tree of hope or the tree or something where they hang all the bottles. And the young lady is sitting out there and she's bleeding. So I think she's on one of the pictures. The young lady is on one of the pictures for the cast of the show this season. So she's going to be an important part of this season. So it'll be interesting to see how that turns out. So that was it for Ernestine. Next is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is obviously reeling from the death of John that we saw last episode. We love John. R.I.P. Oh my God. R.I.P. John. Pour one out for the homie. Okay, so we see her. The story is told in flashback, so it's kind of weird, but we see her sitting in front of the courthouse. She's crying. She's going through this emotions where she's screaming and carrying on and whatnot. And so now it's time to make arrangements for John to have a funeral. Rosalee cannot stay for the funeral, and I don't think she wants to stay, or she doesn't really know what to do. So, you can tell that Rosalee is going through her own thing, and although Elizabeth, understands that different people grieve different ways, she's still she's hurt because, Rosalee is his only family that he has left that's nearby. And so, she's upset because she feels like nobody cared about what John was trying to do. And so she's sitting alone. She's very upset. She's staring into the mirror and she looking like she ready to murk somebody. Like on some real shit. Okay, she finna murk somebody. So she earlier in the episode, she gave one of John's, I don't know if he's an assistant or someone who worked with John, and some of John's clothes. And so he came into the room later on by her. Before that, she went to the sewing club because she's going to be staying in the boarding house for a while. Because she said she needed to get out of the house. So Georgia showed her all around the house. The house is really cool. It has all these secret passageways and other sides. Now, one thing they did bring up that I noticed is she said that you're not worried about the boarders in the house telling what's going on. She said, most people are friends of the cause. But see, that might come to haunt us later on because, you just want to be careful walking around telling all your business about the slave child like that's not illegal and everybody can't go to jail. Okay? So we'll see. But anywho, she was in there by herself, and Georgia tells her husband died. I forgot that. So they have a common bond, not in the same way, but he was sick, but he died. So she knows what it's like to lose a husband. So, basically, the man comes into the room, John's servant, and basically he tells her that, he got beat by his master 39 times. He always wondered why not 35 or why not 40. But, and he slept up many nights thinking about all the horrible stuff that happens. And he just come to the conclusion that, the world don't make no sense. Good things happen, bad things happen. And you just have to have faith that things are going to work out for the good, And so he gives her John's coat back, and then he goes to bed. Elizabeth immediately turns to the mirror. She's looking like she wants to kill somebody. Like, I heard what you said, but, I'm still ready to kill somebody. So she gets up, she goes to the bathroom, raises up the mirror. There's guns. They have guns all over the place. So she got a gun, and we see her the next day sitting outside of the courthouse on the bench like she always does, waiting for John, and waiting, just looking like who I'm finna pop. I'm about to pop somebody today. Somebody gonna die who never died before, okay? And so all of a sudden, and we hear the ringing, like ringing in your ear. It's a ringing, very loud ringing in her ear. So Georgia comes up and sits next to her, and she starts talking, but we can't hear what Georgia is saying because of the ringing. After a while, her voice fades in, and she's just talking about funeral arrangements, but then she says everything will work out, but we just need to leave now. So that Georgia knows that she has that gun, and basically it's like, Elizabeth starts talking about how nobody cared about John, nobody give a damn, nobody is here for him, and, all these different things. And she says, I understand, but how is this going to help? Basically, how is this going to help the movement? Because the only thing that's going to come out of that is Elizabeth's going to die. It's going to delegitimize the movement because you're going to be like, these people are reckless and they're X, Y, and Z. And she ain't going to do nothing but hang. for a crime, you know, so don't do it. So they left him on the bench. We see Elizabeth getting ready for the funeral. I heard, like, Elizabeth, like, I feel you, but she's getting ready for the funeral, and we see it's a montage of her practicing shooting and getting ready for the funeral. So I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen with that. Like, they went to the funeral, about 10 people was at the funeral. You know, she was very upset. It was really sad. Okay, it was very sad. So I don't know what's gonna happen. And then they showed her shooting the spoons again. So to me, my prediction for Elizabeth is that it's going to get worse before it gets better. Because we could see, you know, at the very beginning of season 1, we saw the crazy side of her. She can lose. She can go cuckoo. So I feel like it's going to get reckless. She might throw herself in the movement too much where it get reckless. Or she might go, well, I don't think she's going to go against the movement. But I think that she might put herself in very precarious situations because now she don't really have nothing to live for. She don't have kids. She don't have a husband. And I feel like it's going to get worse before it gets better. So we'll see what happens with Elizabeth. Next storyline, Noah. Noah spends the whole episode trying to get out of this wagon, excuse me. So he figures out how to jimmy the lock on his chains. He puts the chains back on. They're walking him through the woods. They're speaking German, I think. That's German that they were speaking. Or, yeah, I could be wrong. It could be like Irish or something. But somebody let me know. So, and maybe Irish because they had Irish indentured service and stuff. So maybe. But they're walking him through the woods. He keeps falling. He tells them that, you know, he can't see. So he's looking them out. You know, he's sizing them up, seeing who he could beat up, seeing what's going on. So they walk him to the wagon. He gets in there, taking him back in the wagon. He's fixing the ring for her, getting that ring ready for Rosalee. He is also figuring out how to dig up a panel in the floor, and he does it, and he figures out how to unhook the latch that holds the wagon together, and the whole wagon crashes. Noah makes a run for it. He makes a run for it. We think he gonna do good, but Noah, king, can't catch a break. Okay, gets caught again. And so now we see this man sitting in the carriage. He looks, you know, very wealthy and well-to-do, so we're assuming that this may be the master, right? So, they're fixing the wagon, and Noah is taunting. Now, this was kind of funny. I'm glad we got a little comic relief. He said, you know, I could have helped y'all fix it, but you think you too good to talk to me or whatever. So, you know, you doing it wrong. It didn't do it when it tried to. He was like, you still doing it wrong. And so, you know, they went back and forth. And the guy grabs the ring from Noah. He says, you hiding something from us or whatever. And you made this ring for 5 months instead of getting out of it, instead of trying to figure out how to escape from the jail. This shows me that you're an idiot. And he was like, it should have showed you that I'm a patient man. What it should have told you is that I love somebody so much. I care about somebody so much. I'm willing to get back to them however I can. And he guy says, well, look at you trying to get back to them, but you still in chains. Look at you in chains or something like that. And Noah was like, I ain't gonna be in chains forever. And when I'm not in chains, the first thing I'm gonna do is come take that damn ring. Okay? Fuck with me if you want to. So they like, whatever, Noah. But we see that Noah still had his little pen, or it was a nail or something he still got. So when they finally get to the destination where they are, Noah drops the chains. He immediately grabs a gun and sticks it in this guy that we think is the master's neck, right? Everybody got their guns up. You know, if you move, I'ma shoot. Whole situation. So we hear laughter from the balcony. Camera turns. Lo and behold, it's Kato smoking a cigar saying he's not the master. I am. So we don't know what's going on with Kato this season. We don't know if he's a good guy, if he's a bad guy. Why didn't you take your money and go to like South America or Europe or something? So I'm excited to see how this story is going to play out in season 2. Is he going to be working for the good, or is he going to be working for the bad child? I don't know. So let's see what happens. And then you got all these white men working for you. Like, how that work? Okay, how that happen, Kato? We need the backstory. So that was Noah. And one more storyline I think I'm missing with Patty Cannon and all that. So Patty Cannon is getting a book wrote about her. So the author came to visit her, and basically he tells her, on Harriet Tubman, why haven't you caught if you the most notorious slave catcher, why haven't you caught the most notorious slave? Now, Patty Cannon is a real person, you guys. You can look her up for yourself. I don't want to tell you the wrong story, but she was notorious slave catcher. She got in trouble eventually, and I want to say she either went to jail or she got killed or something like that, because they did a lot of kidnapping free people and selling them into slavery. So, and torturing slaves and whatnot. She treated them very badly, okay? So, she got in trouble for that eventually. and she got killed or she went to jail. But this was notorious, more so notorious because she was a woman, and this was not a woman's business, okay, at that time. So, well, I guess at that time, that was the time. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. So, Patty Cannon you can tell that she's a little bit intimidated by this. You can tell that she's insecure. And for me, I can predict what's gonna happen is that Patty is gonna get herself in a Moby Dick type situation, okay? Because what you ain't gonna do with Harriet is play with Harriet, okay? You're not gonna play with her, okay? So he's basically taunting her. So they get information that Harriet Tubman stops at this lady's house and pays her to drink water. So at the beginning of the episode, we see Rosalee, leaving to go bring some slaves to help them get to the Ohio River, and Harriet Tubman is telling her which way she has to go. Rosalee has a moment of weakness and doubting herself, and Harriet is helping her, pumping her up, telling her, look, I know you can do it. I know you can do it. So they went to they were at the sewing club when this happened, that place, and that's when they had the conversation, and Harriet Tubman had a fainting spell. So if you paid attention in history, or if they taught you this in elementary school or junior high, that Harriet Tubman had fainting spells, and she often had visions. And so because she got hit in the head with a rock or hit in the head when she was a kid, and so she forever after she had narcolepsy visions and whatnot. So she has a fainting spell. When she wakes up, she's this is when she gives Rosalee the pep talk and basically says, I had a vision, and in my vision I saw you standing on a riverbank with a look of accomplishment on your face. Now Rosalee was plucking a turkey, so they was making like a bulletproof vest, okay, with turkey feathers and some other stuff and you can see her stuff. And so catch this. She says, this is going to protect you from the buckshot, and he going to protect you from everything else. So later on, with Patty's storyline, and they meet, the storylines meet. We're flashed back to when Patty finds out about this place. So Rosalee takes the slaves to this place, and Harriet says, I told my friend that helps us, that you're going to be on the way, because that area is a dry area. There's no stations. So, she's like, I told him you coming. So Rosalee has taken these slaves there, and the one lady opened the door and says, how, or, can we get the water, whatever. She pay her with some food, and they go around. So now we're at the point, because like I said, Patty got the tip. So now we're met at the beginning when the lady closes the door. We realize that Patty and her gang is on the inside, and they're like, who is that girl? And the lady's like, I don't know her name. All I know is that they call her Black Rose. Rosalee is smart enough to figure out something is going on, so they're hiding in the shed. She tells them to run. She runs in, and Patty sees her running. Well, earlier, Patty saw her running, and she, that day when they was running the first time, she saw her running and in the woods, but she couldn't get to her shooter fast enough. Rosalee got away. So, they finally got to where they were going and got across the river, and the vision, just like Harriet said, she was standing there on the riverbank with a smile on her face, and all of a sudden we see Patty shoots her, and she falls into the water. Now we come back to her, and we realize she come out the water like motherfucking Wolverine on their ass, okay? She came out the water like Wolverine, okay? And, Patty basically says, hey, go get what I got. So we see Rosalee come out the water. So my thing is, did Harriet see that in her vision that she was going to get shot? Because she did say it's going to protect you from the buckshot. One shot. So she comes out of the water. We can see her, getting to land. She gets to land, and she starts taking off her jacket to see where she got shot in the arm, and we see that she has a pregnancy belly, girl. And we know that Journey Smollett was pregnant for the majority of this season, big and pregnant, because she delivered in November, and they started filming August, September. So she was good and pregnant, so they have worked this into the storyline, which is going to be even more heart-wrenching. Y'all, I don't know what's going to happen, but they got to make it back together. I mean, when is Noah going to catch a break? Y'all keep Noah in prayer. Because when is he going to catch a break? He be plotting and scheming and doing all type of stuff and stay getting caught, y'all. What's good? Okay, what's really going on? So, I think I got everything. Yeah, so if I left anything out, like I said, leave it in the comments. Y'all let me know, because I didn't write anything down. This is going off the top of my head. So, I hope y'all have a blessed week. I will see you guys next week. Peace.